everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
It begins.
How ironic that I'm actually doing this during a rainstorm. Anyway, today's One That Got Away is a movie about a story that I have learned time and time again ever since I was really young. And of course, that was the task that was taken by the great Darren Aronofsky, who gave us movies like Black Swan, to bring us Russell Crowe, depicted as one of the most righteous men in a lot of religious denominations in this world, and that is the story of Noah. Now, this is a movie that I was very interested in, especially because of the fact that, like I said, it's a story that I've known ever since I was a kid. We all know the story of Noah and his ark, and all the animals going 2 by 2, and the great flood that wiped out mankind because God wanted to start the world anew with the righteous and good people in this world. But I will say that Darren Aronofsky is without a doubt one of the boldest people in the world to try and bring this story to the big screen. Biblical stories are tricky, so that's one major thing I give him props for, because it's not that the movie is inaccurate or accurate, it's just that this is a story that has gone through so many interpretations, we don't really know what happened. I don't know if you could call this movie, I guess, a biopic of some kind, but you gotta look at ancient scriptures. And when you go through things like ancient scriptures and different interpretations from sages throughout the years, you're really going to try and find some very interesting things. I have to say that Russell Crowe depicting Noah was definitely an interesting choice for Darren Aronofsky, because there were points in time where you definitely saw him as the righteous man, but then there were points in time where he got all Bruce Lee when it came to actual action sequences that were in this movie. To me, the movie didn't feel like it was a biblical story. Some scenes looked like it came out of a post-apocalyptic horror, which was kind of funny for some strange reason. At one point I was saying to myself, is this Noah or is this the Road Warrior? There were also some other great actors and young actors and actresses. Jennifer Connelly, who plays Noah's wife Naamah, and you also have Logan Lerman playing his son Ham. But then you also had Emma Watson from the Harry Potter movies playing the character Elah. Now, Elah was an interesting character. I don't really remember knowing about Elah from biblical studies. She plays the love interest of Shem. I don't really know if she's actually a real character, but we all know that there was a wife to each and every one of Noah's 3 sons in time, because obviously they multiplied and they created the people that are walking around the earth today. I don't really know. I guess Elah was just there for romantic points in the story and for momentum points in the story, etc. So I really have nothing against Emma Watson, and everybody really did have a decent role to play. Wasn't too a big fan of the special effects. I kind of felt they were a little bit cheap, especially when the animals looked very cartoony at times. I also really liked Ray Winstone as Tubal Cain, who basically plays the leader of the evil people in the world, and also the effects that actually take place during the flood, especially when the rains were actually coming down and actually springing up from the ground, which is actually a very interesting Bible interpretation, so I was quite impressed that they actually went in that route. What I thought was very interesting was something that could be extremely controversial, when Noah is telling his children the story of the creation of man and man's life on earth up until this point. I was blown away by the fact that he connected the biblical way of thinking along with the concept of evolution. That's a very controversial and bold thing to do, but he did it, and I respect him even more for it. Still, as great as all of these things are, this movie just did not sit well with me at all. I really was uncomfortable when I was watching this movie, and I'll explain why. Darren Aronofsky knows how to discomfort his audience. I mean, just look at Black Swan. The thing about this movie is you really see what the Old Testament refers to as the wickedness and the evil of man. Holy cow, it was way too wicked, way too evil, and way too in your face. We were a horrible, horrible race of creature. I mean, you think that we're having issues now? We're talking about sacrifice. We're talking about cannibalism. We're talking about murder, rape. We're talking about bestiality. We're talking about some really evil and nasty stuff that the human race did. And the worst part about it is, Darren Aronofsky put it all out there for all of the movie-going public to see. That will either intrigue you, excite you, and if it excites you, I really question your moralities on this planet, but most of the time I would probably say that it would make you squirm and make you wonder why you're even watching this, because this is just too much for one person to bear. I also was scared by Noah at some points in time, because here's this very righteous man who is hearing voices, which are supposed to be the voice of God, but for all we know, it could be voices in his head, and it's amazing when you truly see how many times he is actually tested for the integrity of his own well-being, and some of the things that he almost does are enough to make you even more uncomfortable, and make you question everything around you that you thought was pure and dear to your heart. There are so many people that question religion these days because of the things that the Almighty makes us do, but when you see something like Noah in this movie, it makes you question it even more. Maybe not, but to some it might. But because of all of these things that actually happen, and again, I give a lot of credit to Darren Aronofsky for doing something like this and going down this road and making it this uncomforting at times. For someone like me, it was just not something that I appreciated. It just made me very unsettled, and because of that, I feel that it took so much away from this movie. And when you take a look at how some of the professional critics have actually rated this movie, I kind of feel like I go in with them in that category. So I would say that if you really want to see Noah, see it, and with all of its credit to its merit, I'm giving this movie 1.5 out of 4. So thank you very much for watching another one that got away, guys. Throw your comments in the box below. You want to talk about other biblical movies like the original Ten Commandments or even Exodus Gods and Kings? Throw your comments in there. Let me know what you thought about Noah as well. But that's it for now, guys. I will see you in the next one, and actions speak louder than words.